Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, I shall now discuss question 4. Discuss the importance of breathing meditation anapanasati in the Buddhist system of meditation. Breathing meditation, known as anapanasati, Pali, mindfulness of breathing, holds a foundational and pivotal role in the Buddhist system of meditation. It is one of the most widely practiced forms of meditation across all major Buddhist traditions, Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, and is rooted in the
Pronounce
teaching Vajrayana, and is rooted in the teachings of the Buddha himself. The Anapanasati Sutta MN 118 of the Majjhima Nikaya is the key canonical text where the Buddha describes a 16 steps meditation technique centered around the breath, which systematically cultivates both samatha, calm concentration, and vipassana insight. Anapanasati serves as a primary tool for developing mindfulness, concentration, and ultimately wisdom. By focusing on the breath, practitioners learn to observe the mind's fluctuation, develop non-reactive awareness, and gain insight into the nature of reality. The benefits and importance of practicing anapanasati. 1. Cultivating mindfulness and concentration. Focus on the present. Anapanasati meditation trains the mind to stay anchored in the present moment by focusing on the breath. This helps to reduce mental wandering and distraction, fostering a state of calm and focused awareness. Breaking habitual patterns. By observing the breath without judgment, practitioners learn to notice the arising and passing away of thoughts and sensations, including unpleasant ones, without getting carried away by them. This helps to break free from habitual reaction and negative thought patterns. Developing mental stability. Consistent practice of anapanasati strengthens the ability to maintain attention, leading to greater mental stability and clarity. 2. Facilitating insight vipassana. Observing impermanence. The breath, a constantly changing phenomenon, serves as a powerful object for understanding the principle of impermanence. Practitioners observe how the breath changes from moment to moment, and this understanding can be applied to all aspects of experience. Understanding the nature of self. By observing the breath, one can discern the impermanent nature of the self, leading to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things and the illusory nature of a fixed self, separate self. Developing wisdom. Through the practice of observing the breath and its impermanent nature, practitioners develop wisdom, vipassana, leading to greater understanding of the mind and the world. Relevance to samatha and vipassana. Building a foundation. Anapanasati is unique in that it can be used to develop both samatha, calm, abiding, and vipassana insight. The initial stages of focusing on the breath cultivate calm and concentration, while later stages involve using that stable mind to investigate the nature of reality. Preparing for deeper practice. By developing a calm and stable mind, practitioners are better prepared to engage in a more advanced meditation practices and to gain deeper insights into the nature of existence. 4. Practical benefits. Reduce stress and anxiety. The calming effects of anapanasati meditation can help to reduce stress, anxiety, and other negative mental states. Improve mental clarity. Increased mindfulness and concentration can lead to improved mental clarity, focus, and overall well-being. Enhance spiritual growth. By fostering self-awareness and understanding, anapanasati can contribute to spiritual growth and a deeper connection to one's inner self. In summary, Anapanasati is more than just a concentration technique. It is a comprehensive meditation path that can lead a practitioner from basic mindfulness to the realization of Nibbana. Its simplicity, universality, and depth make it a cornerstone of the Buddhist meditative system. As the Buddha said in the Anapanasati Sutta, when mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated, it is of great fruit and great benefit. MN 118. Thank you.
Okay, very good, sister. Very good try. You should take the exam rather than sitting behind.
It's okay.
You can
It's
have this
okay.
standard expect to pass yourself to the YMBA course. Anybody got any more to add in? Anybody?
Brother Cole raised his hands. Please speak.
No, I make a mistake is to applause Doris' presentation. It's clapping, not raised hand.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. It's my turn to answer two questions. Question 1 and question 5. So I start with question 1 first. Question 1 is explain mindfulness as presented in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. The word Satipaṭṭhāna is the name for an approach to meditation aimed at establishing sati or mindfulness. The term sati is related to the verb sarti, to remember or to keep in mind. It is sometimes translated as non-reactive awareness, free from agendas, simply present with whatever arises. But the formula for Satipaṭṭhāna doesn't support that translation. Non-reactive awareness is actually an aspect of equanimity, a quality fostered in the course of Satipaṭṭhāna. The role of mindfulness is to keep the mind properly grounded in the present moment in a way that will keep it on the path. To make an analogy, awakening is like a mountain on the horizon, the destination to which you are driving a car. Mindfulness is what remembers to keep attention focused on the road to the mountain, rather than letting it stay focused on glimpses of the mountains or get distracted by other paths leading away from the road. As a compound term, Satipaṭṭhāna can be broken down into two ways, either Satipaṭṭhāna, which is the foundation of mindfulness, or as a Sati Upatthana, establishing of mindfulness, and scholars debate as to which is the proper interpretation, but in practice, both provides useful food of thought. The first interpretation, Satipaṭṭhāna, foundation of mindfulness, focuses on the object of the meditation practice. The focal point that provides mindfulness with a foundation, or to use more idiomatic English phrase adopted here, a frame of reference. Altogether, there are four: the body in and of itself, feeling in and of themselves, mind in and of itself, mental qualities in and of themselves. The in and of itself here is crucial. In the case of the body, for instance, it means viewing the body on its own term rather than in terms of its function in the context of the world. For in that case, the world would be the frame of reference, dropping away concern for how the body beauty, agility, or strength fits into the world. The meditator simply stay with the direct experience of its breathing, its movement, its posture, its elementary properties, and its inevitable decay. A similar principles apply to other frames of reference. The second interpretation of Satipaṭṭhāna, that is, Sati Upatthana, is establishing of mindfulness, focuses on the process of the meditation practice, on how a frame of reference is established. The sutta gives 3 stages of this process. Thus, Satipaṭṭhāna leads to everything coming together as one. In other words, as seventh factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, it leads to Samadhi, the eighth factor. Right mindfulness, in a way, is superior to knowledge because in the absence of mindfulness, it is just impossible for a man to make the best of his learning to see a thing in its proper perspective. Mindfulness is the chief characteristic of all wholesome action, tending to one's own and others' profit. It is the instrument most efficacious in self-mastery, and whoever practices it had found the path to deliverance. It is fourfold mindfulness consisting in contemplation of the body, kaya anupassana, feeling, vedana anupassana, mind, citta anupassana, and mental objects, Dhamma anupassana. The man lacking in this all important qualities of mindfulness cannot achieve anything worthwhile. The aim of cultivating mindfulness is to purify sentient beings, to get past sorrow and crying, to make an end of pain and sadness, to discover the system, and to realize extinguishment, which is the enlightenment and realizing Nibbana. That's all for question number 1.
Okay, good try. Anybody got any other comment? Any comment? The rest of you? This is a good presentation. So basically anything that explain mindfulness, I present this thing sufficient to cover everything. Sister Sumita do some homework for you people. Okay, can proceed to the next question.
Now I go to question number 5. Explain any given contemplation as introduction. In the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 10, the Buddha identifies 4 foundations of mindfulness or frames of reference on which he contemplates or focuses after leaving behind the worldly life. The Sutta then gives an overview of the Buddhist practices under these 4 headings. That is, number 1, contemplation on the body, kaya anupassana. Number 2, contemplation on sensation or feelings aroused by perception, which is vedana anupassana. The third one is the contemplation of mind or consciousness, which is citta anupassana. And finally, the fourth one will be contemplation on elements of the Buddhist teaching, which is the Dhamma anupassana. So I focus on the first one, which is the contemplation of the body, kaya anupassana. A meditator finds a quiet and appropriate site, sit down, having folded his legs crosswise, set his body erect, and establish mindfulness in front of him. Mindfully, he breathes in. Mindfully, he breathes out. Then the meditator establishes the awareness of the body, and this is what he does in a few subsections. Number 1 is the mindfulness of breathing, which is anapanasati. He remains aware and mindful of his breathing, knowing if he is breathing in and breathing out, a deep breath, or in other words, breathing heavily, or he is inhaling or exhaling in a light manner or a shallow breath. At the same time, he is calming the bodily formation. He remains focused on the phenomenon of origination with regards to the body, on the phenomenon of passing away with regard to the body, or on the phenomenon of origination and passing away with regards to the body. With proper breathing, which naturally becomes more and more subtle as the mind and the body becomes more and more peaceful and tranquil in consequence of the mindfulness of breathing. Then it comes to the clear comprehension of all posture actions, which is iriya pada. He is aware that whether he is standing, walking, going forward or backward, turning, sitting, lying down, bending his arm, eating, etc., and he's observing his body both internally and externally, both inside and outside the formal meditation. He adopts constant and thorough understanding of impermanence, sampajana, in regards to the bodily activities and daily routines. He held that in powerful practice of right mindfulness, sati, has to be integrated with sampajana, which is translated as the clear comprehension. That is, seeing or knowing or discerning rightly, entirely, or evenly, or equally. It is only when these two work together, the right mindfulness can fulfill its intended purpose. He shall be focusing on the following aspect. Firstly, purpose, which is a sattaka sampajana. Before undertaking whatever activities, the meditator have to know clearly whether or not the activity intended is beneficial to himself and to others. Hence, he decided to refrain from all activities which is irrelevant to the path. Secondly, he will observe the suitability, which is the sapaya sampajana. If the activities are relevant and beneficial, he will find a suitable time and place to do the activities and pursue activities in a dignified and careful manner. Subsequently, the contemplation will or reflection will be on the domain, gochara sampajana. The third aspect of the clear comprehension requires the meditator to stay in their own domain. That is, insight meditation or serenity meditation, no matter what routine in which the activities is carried out. In other words, meditators are supposed to practice mindfulness from the time of walking to the moment of falling asleep. This undoubtedly requires extraordinary amount of energy and determination on the part of the meditators, maintaining sensory restraint consistent with the mindfulness. And finally, non-delusion, samoha sampajana. Sampajanya. The fourth aspect is that in the fact that the outcome of successful practice of the third aspect, when the meditator diligently relate mindfulness practice to all activities they are doing, in due course, they naturally come to realize that in reality, there exists no self doing all these activities, and thus eradicate the illusion of self, that is, seeing the true nature of reality of anicca, dukkha, anatta. The third aspect will be the contemplation of the body, will be reflection on the repulsiveness or foulness of the body parts. A meditator reflects on this very body from the sole to the feet on up, from the crown to the head on down, surrounding by the skin, from the external organs to all the internal organs, by analyzing the body into the anatomical parts, and reflected that there are various kinds of unclean things full of many kinds of filth. This contemplation serves as an antidote to sexual attachment and to one's own body, as well as the body of the opposite sex. This meditative technique is better to be practiced as an auxiliary technique to loosen strong attachment towards the body and to facilitate the development of other fundamental meditative practice pertaining to insight meditation, such as contemplation of impermanence in all formation. The fourth aspect of contemplation of the body will be reflection on elements which are in the body, such as the elements of water, earth, fire, and air. A meditator examines his own body, whatever its placement or posture according to this element. In the body, there is earth element, such as solidity or firmness, hardness and softness. The water element, which refers to the cohesion. There exists the fire element, where one experiences heat and cold, and the air element, which denotes the motion. While meditation on the elements is commonly taught in the early texts, this phrase is found only in two Satipaṭṭhāna Suttas and the Kaya Gata Sati Sutta. This meditation works in any posture, whereas meditation is best done sitting to allow the breath to become still. This meditation works in any posture, whereas okay, sorry, there's a repetition. Okay, the fifth aspect on the contemplation of the body will be Chana ground contemplation. When a meditator sees a dead body that has been thrown in a Chana ground, undergoing the process of decaying and decomposing, such as swollen, blue, festering, reduced to a skeleton with flesh and blood attached to it, and held together by tendons, then reduced to disconnected bones scattered in all directions, and finally the bones having rotted away to powder. Hence, he observed his own body internally and externally. Regarding his own body, consider that indeed this body of the same nature, it will go like that and cannot escape from it. The same applies when he sees the corpse being eaten away by vulture or wild beast. The objective is to arouse disgust of the body, which is ordinarily passionately treasured, and to impart a lesson on impermanence by the observation of the dissolution of the composite body, and thereby to reflect, truly my body too is similar and is destined to the same inescapable fate of decay. In this way, the meditators remain focused on the body itself, or clear comprehension of arising and vanishing with regard to the body, or sustained mindfulness of the presence of the body. In this way, he dwells detached without clinging towards anything in the world regarding minds and matter. And this is how any meditator dwells observing the body. That's all for the question number 5.
Okay, good try. They import a lot of good material in. Anybody got any question, things to add on or question? Anybody?
My question is, do we have to cover all the aspects, or can we just focus
You don't
on
have
one or
the
two?
time. Choose properly. Choose what is ever relevant. And then it's within 30 minutes, you must finish the whole question essay.
Okay.
So
that means
you
I
write too
can
long,
just
no
I just
got time to finish the rest.
okay. Because I did
So
as
be
an
careful,
assignment.
especially
Yeah, okay.
ending exam question. Time is an essence. Anybody?
Next one.
You want to stop, then continue again.
It's okay. I don't mind if I'm ready to present my 2 questions.
Everybody okay?
Okay.
This is YMBA Diploma class assignment number 1. So my question that was assigned to me is the question number 2 and question number 3. It's actually quite similar, but it's from a different aspect. So for question number 2, it is to discuss the importance of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta in the Buddhist system of meditation. So this is about Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta and the meditation system in the Buddhist system of meditation. The question 3 will be more on the way towards Nibbana. So I will discuss the question 2 first. So as an introduction, in the Buddha Dhamma, is generally accepted and the practices are 1, Dana, Sila, Bhavana for lay people, that is generosity, virtue, and mental cultivation. And for the monastic is Sila, Samadhi, Bhavana, virtue, concentration, and mental cultivation. So for mental cultivation, meditation is a key practice. In the Nikaya, the Pali Nikaya, there are many suttas that describe the various techniques of meditation. For example, from Samatha Bhavana, that is the concentration or serene meditation, Brahma Vihara Bhavana, sublime meditation, all the way towards Vipassana Bhavana, insight meditation. So Samatha Bhavana may lead to jhana, that is absorption or concentration, or some translate as composure. So the methods recommended include kasina, like the 4 colors, 4 great elements, etc., or anusati, the recollections of qualities of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, or virtue, the Deva, even Deva, and a few others. These techniques were known, taught, and practiced by Buddha's contemporaries during the Buddha's time, meaning to say it is quite common in the so-called ascetic practices during ancient India, during the ancient India. Vipassana Bhavana, on the other hand, leads to understanding, realization, and insight into all conditioned phenomena, that is the Dhamma, and that all conditioned phenomena have 3 characteristics, the Tilakkhana, namely the anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So with this insight, one gains wisdom and finally attains full realization and Nibbana. So some of the techniques are solely for Samatha Bhavana, some solely for Vipassana Bhavana, and some methods have a combination of both, as described by Sister Doris on Anapanasati. It can be used for both, that is Samatha as well as Vipassana. And Vipassana Bhavana is unique too and only taught in the Buddha's dispensation. Meaning to say, the other sect during the ancient Indians do not know about Vipassana Bhavana. It was taught by Buddha, Gautama, and that's how the Buddha dispensation has this Vipassana Bhavana. So now we go into this Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. The Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, or translated as the discourse on the foundation of mindfulness, in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 10, MN10, is generally taken as the fullest instructions by the Buddha to the monks on the system of meditation. And this is a complete instructions on meditation. Unlike some of the suttas, it's actually some could be very brief, some could be more detailed. So in this Satipaṭṭhāna, it is very complete. So it is methodical, gradual, and on one faculty, that is the mental faculty. And it is readily available at any moment, meaning to say, at any one point, the subject of meditation is always there. And it manifests in the present moment, especially when you're talking about the body sensation. It has the potential to lead to total eradication of defilements, final deliverance from suffering, and full realization. It's often translated too as the direct path to liberation because of the Pali word Eka Yano Margo. In Digha Nikaya Sutta 22, that is the Mahā Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, the greater discourse on the foundation of mindfulness describes with more details and greater elaboration on the practice as well. So, to practice well in Satipaṭṭhāna, firstly, we have to have sound theoretical understanding of the method, and that is crucial. And the second thing is proper guidance from qualified and practicing teacher, meaning the teacher who is not only qualified but also practicing the Satipaṭṭhāna. And that guidance will be very crucial, especially for beginners. And when yogi encounters issues or challenges along the way. The third one will be effort. That means the personal effort of yogi, and the persistency of the yogi has to be there, because there will be a lot of effort required to practice the Satipaṭṭhāna. And of course, mindfulness is also very crucial. And mindfulness is not only the momentary mindfulness. Of course, it will start with momentary mindfulness, but gradually it has to build up consistency and continuity of mindfulness. And if mindfulness without clear comprehension, it will be also very difficult. So clear comprehension is another crucial aspect to practice well in Satipaṭṭhāna. Then only that day, the Satipaṭṭhāna on the phenomena of the mind and body, Namarupa, will be able to lead to great progress and attainments. That means the various stages of mundane as well as supramundane attainment. So the scheme or the framework of the practice in Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta and is presented from 4 aspects or 4 foundations. So one is the contemplation of the body. The second one is the contemplation of the feeling. Third is the contemplation of the mind. Fourth is the contemplation of the mind objects or Dhamma and Anupassana. And each foundations in the sutta itself provides very clear practical instructions for the practice. And it is for both formal meditation as well as in daily life application. That means in the person's life, it is supposed to be applied in the daily life activities. So it is actually suitable for both practitioners at different level, and that is the monastic as well as the lay people, and those with various levels of development in their mental cultivation. So it can be for beginners as well as for what you call advanced meditators. But of course, Satipaṭṭhāna will be more suited for advanced practitioner because of the what you call their sati, the strength of the sati, the strength of the concentration, or the strength of the not the strength of the meditation, the strength of their mindfulness will help them to progress very fast. The scheme addresses both samatha and vipassana. That is, this Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta addresses both samatha and vipassana. So, as a general rule, it requires minimally assessed concentration. That means upachara samadhi, or sometimes for the beginner is more like momentary samadhi, momentary sati. So if a person has good concentration or as well as good mindfulness, that will be very helpful. So a continual mindfulness of the phenomena is crucial. It is important. And this Satipaṭṭhāna encompasses the entire spectrum of meditative experience from very beginning, that is from the body, and then right up to the Dhamma stage. So it is the full spectrum of living beings, of Namarupa. Thus, it has the potential to lead systematically to the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And this method is universally accessible, be it in Asia, India, or in any other part of the world. And it is universally accessible because it was true during Buddha's time, and it is still applicable during our time, and will be still applicable in future. And it can be practiced in all the 4 postures, that is in daily life, where be it walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. And because it is applicable in daily life, it is suitable for both monastic and lay practitioners alike. So in summary, the sutta's importance lies in its systematic and gradual approach to developing mindfulness, leading to the direct understanding of all phenomena as having the 3 characteristics of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. And with such wisdom and realization, one is able to attain liberation or different stages of liberation. That's the end. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Anybody, any question or want to add on? Nobody? Any more add on? If not, we'll go to the next question. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to the next. So this is question number 3. The question reads, the quote, "The way to Nibbana is through the development of the mind," unquote. Explain this statement by reference to the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. So this is another aspect of the way the question on Satipaṭṭhāna is been approached. That is to explain how Satipaṭṭhāna shows the way in terms of how to develop the mind and towards the attainment of Nibbana. So, okay, the introduction here. In the Nikaya, there are many suttas which describe many incidents where the monks and lay people attain realizations of various Ariya levels, noble levels, during and after hearing a stanza or a sermon or discourse by or from the Buddha. Many seem to attain Ariyahood suddenly. Few suttas describe with details on how to practice and the development of that specific method, like the Anapanasati Sutta and the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Okay, let's go into the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. According to the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta M10, the development of mind or the development of the mind is through a systematic mindfulness practice, and indeed it can lead to Nibbana. The process may be explained as follows. 1. The foundation in right mindfulness. The sutta begins with the Buddha declaring that this is Ekayano Maggo, which is translated as the direct path. So sati, mindfulness, serves as the gateway to mental development through the 4 foundations, that is the Rupa, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. That is, you need a sati for the mental development to progress. Then the second one is the progressive mental development. In this progressive mental development, I've subdivided into a few. Part 1, through body contemplation, Kaya Anupassana. So one establishes basic mindfulness. Because the body is crude, so it's easier to establish and to build the mindfulness. And Kaya Anupassana is highly recommended to help one establish basic mindfulness. For example, one develops concentration through breath awareness. And breath awareness also has the effect of, that means the mindfulness of the breath has the effect of overcoming gross hindrances, the nivarana, the 5 nivarana. And these are the gross ones. And then part 2 is through the feelings contemplation, Vedana Anupassana. So one observes the pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings that arise from the sensation. So with that, it will be able to lead to the understanding on how feelings condition the mind and the mental states. How our feelings sometimes leads to a lot of mental proliferations, a lot of stories, a lot of sankharas that comes along with it. So when doing this Vedana Anupassana, one will be able to see how these feelings condition the mind and the mental states that arise out of it. So by knowing that, one will be able to break the automatic reaction patterns of a normal person mind process. For example, we normally, when we feel pleasant sensation, we like it, and then we'll go for it. And when a person has unpleasant feeling, normally they'll reject it and they'll push it away. So these are the normal pattern of a normal person's mind process and the way they respond to it. But by doing this Vedana Anupassana, one will look at the feelings objectively and let it be. And by letting it be, we realize that the feeling will come and the feelings will go away, whether it's pleasant, whether it's unpleasant, or even neutral feelings. So that way, we are able to break the automatic reaction patterns. Then the third part is the mind contemplation, Citta Anupassana. So the yogi will recognize the mental state as they arise. And they arise and they will disappear just like the feelings. So along with it, one also observes, that means one will try to investigate the presence of defilements or the absence of defilements, or both the presence and absence of different types of defilements in the situation that one is in. So with that understanding, one will be able to develop the minds that even the mental states is actually changeable in nature. It is anicca. So that will bring the understanding of the minds into a higher stage of more subtle level. That is the consciousness level. And then the fourth one is through the Dhamma contemplation, Dhamma Anupassana. So the yogi will investigate the experiential reality through the Buddhist frameworks. And one could understand from this Dhamma contemplation, one will be able to understand the causes and the absence of the five hindrances, the defilements, the taints, etc., and how to abandon them. That is the absence of the conditions for their presence. So with that, they will be able to lead to the realization and the understanding, or lead to the understanding and realization of the Four Noble Truths, and directly, that is experientially. So from the transformation process itself, we can look at it this way. That is, one progresses from the gross awareness or gross mindfulness, gross sati, to a subtle awareness, to a subtle sati. And from the conceptual understanding of, that is the so-called knowledge base, through learning and to understanding the certain part of the processes, then to the direct understanding, that is the reality of what is happening in the mind. Or we can also look at it from the conditioned state. That means we look at the conditioned states, and then it evolves and progresses to the unconditioned state. That is the Magga and Phala state, the supramundane state. And we can also look at it from the 7 factors of enlightenment, that is the Sattha Bhujanga, where you realize that there is the needs of mindfulness, and we have to have the investigation nature, and coupled with energy, then it will result into rapture or joy, pity, and over that you will have certain amount of tranquility, the passaddhi, and concentration, and after that you have upekkha. They will come together, culminate in the maturity of the Bhujanga. So in summary, This systematic mental development will lead to the weakening and the eradications of the defilements, and from the mundane intellectual knowledge to the direct knowledge, and from the gradual attainment, that is the mundane knowledge, to the final and full liberation, vimutti. That's the end. Thank you.
Okay, good try. Basically cover everything on the Satipaṭṭhāna. So anybody on the add-on? So you by doing all these 5 questions, basically all your partial question you look through, it already cover inside. Okay. We will come back when doing the revision. Actually, you're doing this is good for everyone, especially those studying YMBA. If you check the YMBA resources, getting very little resources as almost impossible. So what you're doing is helping those who are studying to come to the YouTube. You can provide them all the resources for them to study. So a great job from you all also. So YMBA is not difficult. You think in a positive way, sure can get through. Is your mind, the mind is a factor that discourages you from trying. I don't know. That's my years of teaching. Then I find student the obstacle of the mind.